Annette McCoy, and with me this morning is Barry Gray. Barry is a medium, and Barry would delight in helping you connect with your loved ones who have gone beyond the veil, so to speak. So if you are interested in listening to what Barry has to say, if you would like a reading today, please go over to Angel Heart Radio Facebook page, because there you can type in a request for a reading. Before we start, may I remind you that these shows should never replace your legal, medical, nor professional advice, nor your own sound judgment. Well, Barry, it's always such a delight to be with you. Thank you so much for being with me here again on Angel Heart Radio.
Morning, Annette. Thank you. It's always a pleasure and an honour to be on here as well. You know, I just love being able to be part of this process, and I guess connecting with people no matter who they are and wherever they are, because, you know, modern technology these days is just amazing.
Oh, isn't it? Now we're so fortunate in these times to be, have such technology at our fingertips, if you like. You know, the fact that we are now, well, we've been for a long, long time, even when we were back on Blog Talk Radio solely before we came to being live and actually being able to be seen by our audience, we've been able to reach out to people globally, and that's such a treat, is it not?
It is, you know, and when you look at it in another way, symbolically, that's what Spirit's about too, because we can connect to them no matter where we are in the world.
That's true.
And, you know, we could be in America, for instance, you know, and I could be sitting here in Australia, you know, and they can still come in. They don't need planes to get on. They don't need passports. They can be there in an instant. So it doesn't matter where we are in the world. They can be there for us.
Well, that's a very good point, because some of us are, I know you personally, would love to be with your family visiting in the UK, and yet you can't be at this point.
No.
We're all sort of, I was going to say stuck. We're not, but we're simply, yes, different parts of the world. How wonderful that technology allows us to reach out to our loved ones elsewhere. However, as you have just said, we don't need technology to reach out to those who have passed and are in spirit.
No, that's right. It's literally just a thought away. You know, it's an instant thing. When we think about somebody, we're kind of reaching out to them, I guess, and then suddenly they're there. You know, they're next to us in some form. And even if we don't see them, often we can feel them, or we may kind of get an image in our mind or a picture of their face or something. So often, you know, that's because they're with us at that moment in time. You know, so they can be, you know, and I often do readings via Zoom for people across the water, you know, in America and Europe, and it makes no difference whatsoever, because if Spirit's going to be there, they're going to be there.
Right. Now, Barry, we have people in the chat room. Welcome to Chrissy, Anne, and Helena. Chrissy has 2 questions. So, Chrissy, if you would like to type those in, I can relay them to Barry. Oh, I do like this interaction.
That's great.
Isn't it so good?
It is. And I think, too, it's about opportunity to share as well. You know, no matter what our own beliefs are or our own experiences, you know, we've all got different experiences with life and the way we see things. And it's good to be able to be open to other people's interpretation, you know, because the world is about sharing. None of us know any more than anybody else. We just know perhaps something different, you know, and if we're able to share what we think with other people and vice versa, you know, what a better world it could be when we all come together on the same page.
Absolutely. I think you've made a very relevant point there too. The fact that, yes, we all do take things differently, and it's important that we respect other people's points of view. We can learn through other people. Sometimes we firm up our own beliefs by what somebody else might be saying to us. That's healthy. The thing is that, okay, you and I might have different points of view. However, we share, don't we? And that's the important part. And we respect respect people. Now,
Exactly.
Chrissy says, somebody close has passed just recently. Just wanted to know if he is okay and if there's any message from my parents, please. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Look, I certainly feel straight away with that one when you were starting to talk. As soon as you mentioned the name of Chrissy, I kind of felt this gentleman step into my space, kind of large as life sort of thing, and a very cheeky man, very much a big smile on his face type of gentleman. I know when he's there, he certainly comes forward now with the sense that he's still kind of causing havoc up on the other side, but in a nice way, because that's his sense of humour when he was here on the earth plane, and I feel too with this gentleman that comes forward. I know he's somebody that wants you to know that, he arrived home safely, and he's absolutely back to his old self. He's got no kind of the challenges within himself that he had before he left this world. And I know he's there now very bright and happy and kind of at peace at last within himself, and I feel too, he shows me a dog around him as well. And I know we all love dogs. We've all got dogs in one way or another, or animals, but I know he brings a dog forward with him from the spirit side too. So I feel this dog was already there before this gentleman got there into the spirit world in that way. And when it comes to your parents, especially mum, I feel that starts to draw a close. She comes in very much, what's the word? I'm trying to think of the right word to say about mum, because she's such a character too, this lady, but certainly somebody that had a lot of stubbornness about her, like we all have, somebody that kept going, and even towards the end of her life too, she's somebody that kind of never gave up. And the philosophy in life was about, if you want to achieve something in life, you've got to put work in to make it happen. And she's somebody that always did her best with family and her life in so many ways. And I just feel like she comes in now to not just about sending her love, but give Christy also some encouragement, say, girl, it's time for you also now to start getting back on that horse again, as it were, to start living your life and making your dreams come true for yourself, because you've put in some aspects of your life on hold for so long now. And I'm saying, life is short, as you know from her experience, and know that, time passes by, so enjoy every moment that you do have. And I feel too, she takes me outside into the garden as well. So there's some sort of project that needs to be finished in the garden with you as well in some way. But I know they're certainly both coming now kind of happy as Larry, as we say, very bright, cheery, both of them coming hand in hand together in that sort of way, just to connect with you, to let you know they're home safe and well, but also very much kind of, I guess, not just walking with you, but walking with all the children as well on this side of life. But they just come in very much at peace and very happy for you in that way. And she just said, your mum talked about an anniversary that must be very close by too, because she just mentioned the anniversary to pass on to you as well. And also there was something to do with some jewellery that we need to look at, or we need to kind of sort out and pass on to somebody close to yourself. So there must be a conversation about this as well. But I know they're there for you just to say hello, we are there, but we're fine where we are from our side of life, and don't let life get you down too much is the message I feel, especially for mum, for you as well. So it's just kind of a brief connection I felt with that one for Chrissy.
Chrissy, yes, and she got the ring.
Okay then. So I know there was a mention of the jury, but I wasn't quite sure, because it's a very quick connection. I wasn't quite sure what the meaning was for that, but she just mentions that as well. But they both both come in so large as life and very happy, very much kind of upbeat kind of people, very positive people. So, and I bring that forward for Chrissy also to say, you've done so well, you've come so far, emotionally speaking as well, but really be yourself now, and time to shine your light also to the world.
Fantastic. Now, Barry, the questions are coming in loud and fast. So welcome to everybody who's in the chat room. Welcome to everybody who happens to be anywhere listening to or watching this broadcast. Those of you who have questions, please be patient, because we will work our way down. Now, welcome to Lacey. And also Steph Ward has a question. Do you see any changes in my circumstances in the near future? I am very stuck. My father's health is a concern. Any message from mum?
Okay, look, the first thing I see, as soon as you mention mum, I see a lady that stands there kind of standing with arms folded, and she's got kind of I guess, a serious look on her face as well at the moment. And for me, it's more of the sense that, sometimes that it's not because you've stopped trying. Sometimes it's about the influence and circumstances outside of you that's kind of controlling some of your situations at the moment, But what I certainly feel with this is, as you mentioned about kind of being stuck in mud, there is that feeling of kind of heaviness around your feet, which is stopping you symbolically from moving forward in many ways. But what I feel is it's kind of, you've been going through a time of change in many ways, I feel. Sometimes, sometimes the changes are not easy to go through, and we kind of resist those changes sometimes. But I do feel certainly as you start to make those changes happen, life starts to flow much better. In other ways, the blocks seem to kind of be pushed to the side. And as you start to do that, you'll find that you'll be more happy within yourself and more sunshine again. And I feel like September, October is going to be like a new beginning for you in some respects. It's almost as if the kind of heaviness is starting to slowly shift between now and then. And I see more kind of opportunities coming back into your life with a new direction with either finances and work side too, and certainly emotionally speaking as well. I kind of feel there's been a lot of frustration around that aspect of your life recently too, and I see that also starting to change, because sometimes it's also about changing our mindset in the way we see some situations, and it's about realizing sometimes we can only do what we can being around certain people, and we have to let them sort of make their own choices, but we have to do what's right for us. And I feel in this situation, there is a sense that sort of certainly September onwards, I feel it's going to be much more calm time for you to be more kind of active with the changes you want to make, and better choices coming up for you, so you can be on a really good path to really kind of open up your world again in many ways. And also that includes finance and work for you as well. But certainly emotionally, I kind of feel there's been a bit of a healing going on with you as well in recent times. So, but it is certainly onwards and upwards, I feel, and it's only a matter of time before you kind of come back into that sunshine again and start enjoying your life again, and knowing that each day you get up, you've got something to look forward to rather than dread, sort of thing. So,
Fantastic. Now, Chrissy is very, very grateful, and she said it meant the world to her. And we have people lining up, which is wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
Please be patient. But a couple of people who have passed recently. One of them is Star, and she asks, my brother passed suddenly and I still have grief, of course, and loss around him leaving. Are you able to feel him around? I would love a message from him. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Look, I think, obviously in many ways, grief is always a personal thing, and there's no right or wrong way to grieve, and it can take a long time for people to kind of start picking themselves up from that, and other people kind of get over it very quickly. But certainly I feel with your brother, as he starts to kind of draw close, I get a sense with him that, sometimes we don't always make the best choices in life, and we kind of don't always see a better way around some situations. But I know with your brother, he comes in with that sense also, with a lot of heaviness has been taken off of his shoulders in some ways, and he comes in with this sense that certainly also having that inner peace again and being at peace within himself. But I do feel there were struggles around him within himself towards the end of his life in some respects. But certainly I feel he still had a good sense of humour. He had a lot of fun around him. And I see him as a very well-liked and loved person in many respects. And I feel he comes in with that connection to really hold you close to him at the moment, because he will be more kind of concerned with your grief and what you're feeling at this moment as well. And I see him coming in with that care for you, like that sort of thing. And with him as well, sort of thing to say, I know, but scent with him as well when he draws close. So if you're not aware of that, keep out an eye for that, because I feel you will feel or you will hear and you also smell his scent that also comes in with him as well. But I do feel there's a cheekiness to this man as well, and I want to call him a young man because I feel he's got that way about him, to be honest. But I know he comes in certainly kind of at peace, and it's like he's very much lighter within himself now, and he has none of those inner struggles and battles that perhaps he would have had, emotionally speaking, in certain stages of his life, but he certainly comes in now to give you a bit of comfort. It's more about you than himself.
Thank you very much.
Concern he would have for you. But no, he is safe and he's well, and his thing is that's okay. And his thing is that he wants to come in to help Star kind of get back on her feet again, to be that happy girl that she always generally is.
Thank you very much. Now, Let me see. Yes, Steph was very appreciative. Now we're going to Helena, maybe. I'm just curious about who is my team and who is hanging around her at the moment.
Oh, okay. Look, I think it depends on what you mean by talk about team, because is it guides or is it just loved ones? Because, when it comes to guides, I kind of always a bit dubious about telling people they're guides, because it's something I can't always prove.
I think,
Unless
yes.
it resonates with them, I guess, in that way. But certainly on the other aspect of it, when it comes to family and love and everybody else too, I kind of feel I feel like there's at least 3, possibly 4 in the spirit side. I feel like there's a group of 3 or 4 that come in very close. And I do feel like I've got 2 females and also a male as well, but maybe 2 males. So I feel I've got 2 of each that come forward, and they both come in as 2 couples, I feel, in that way, so I do feel that. And for me, I've got one, like a lady and a gentleman that come hand in hand, which to me feels like either grandparents or parents that both come in from the other side for you. And it's like they both come in very, very much supportive of you and pretty appreciative of you as well, because of helping them in their life and being there for them at some stage. And I just feel they want to come in to kind of say hello to you, that they're never too far away from you, as you would already know, because I feel you sense them in some way anyway, and they're there just to say, it is us that they're quite often with you, just to sort of prod you along sometimes, give you a bit of a push when you need it as well. And they're saying, don't be so stubborn, listen, because we're trying to tell you something. So I don't know what that means to you, but I think they're just there to help you, try and fix the situation that you're a bit stuck on at this moment as well, in some sort of way. But I just certainly feel they're coming, but I certainly feel there's a 4 people in the spirit, I feel, that are coming very close to you. And there's also a slightly younger female that passed with cancer, also comes in around this group as well. And this lady that comes forward is somebody that certainly holds a hand out to you as a kind of a friendship, as a mateship, as a guide for you, perhaps in the physical world. And I know she's there just from her side of life now, continuing that journey with you in that way. So I feel when you get ideas in your mind or thoughts, she's somebody that will be there to work with you through your mind as well. And it's just something to do with books with you too. So I don't know whether you're researching or you're looking to find something in particular, but there's something to do with books with you that needs to be looked at as well. So cool.
Thank you for that one, Barry. And let me see, Helena did think that it was family. She had been told by a psychic that it was family members. Now we have Anne, and Anne Breen would like to know, may I ask if any one of my passed on relatives have a message for me?
Okay. Look, as soon as you started mentioning that name, I had the name of Mary being called out from the spirit side, and also Lizzie or Elizabeth is also there too. But I know the first name that comes forward with this lady, I certainly feel, again, I'm looking at Mum's mum from the spirit side, not Mum herself. And I see somebody that was quite probably frail towards the end of her life, a little bit thin in build at the end of her life too, but certainly somebody that had this real stubbornness and strength that also kept her going throughout her life. But I kind of feel like it's the sense that with this lady that comes in, she's certainly there just to say, life can be difficult at times. You certainly have more than your fair share, but look how far you've come, rather than what you've had to go through, is what I feel she's making you trying to think in that sort of way, to turn around your thoughts about yourself and your life. And I know she's saying, life can be difficult, but no, sometimes if we see things differently, we change our mindset, then things become a bit easier for us to deal with in many ways. So I just feel she's there to give you that encouragement, kind of mentally speaking, I guess, in that way too. And there's also a bit of a grumpy man that seems to be beside her as well. No disrespect to him, but I see this man that was either a bit difficult to be around in his life, or somebody that was quite difficult, perhaps towards the end of his life more so than anything else, because he also draws close to yourself as well. And I feel like he would have been difficult probably because of what he was going through, more so than anything else to do with his struggle with the illness in his life as well. And I don't know whether you're connected to a caravan, or there's the mention of a caravan around you. I don't know what that means to you. There's mention of a caravan in some way. So cool. Okay. It was just a brief one again with that one, I feel. It's just kind of a quick in and out for that one, but it's more of a kind of hello, yes, I'm here type of thing.
Barry, what amazes me is, we've got interference this morning, big time. How you can communicate so easily. You know, we have all of these people, random people who you don't know, come asking questions through me, and we have the spirit world very eager to come forward. And this is the beauty, isn't it, of being a medium and being able to connect these people.
Yeah, and I think sometimes, you know, there's times when I'm not being able to do it too, you know, because, you know, life gets in the way sometimes, and we're not always able to switch our mind off to be that clear channel for spirit. So it's not always a kind of clear process, but generally once I'm open, I kind of feel that instant change.
Right.
You know, because I always teach people when I'm doing my workshops that, you know, we don't have to sit there for hours on end doing this kind of so, you know, this thing where we go through different stages to connect with spirit, because it's really that instant with spirit in that way, because they're there within a second, really. It's a thought thing, you know, through thought. So it's really that quick.
Wonderful. We have Karen Curry here, and Karen would like to know if her mother, who recently passed, is okay, and who she is with, and if she is with any other family members.
Okay, yeah. Look, I know it's always it's an obvious thing to say that, you know, the minute we go home, we're always going to be safe, we're always going to be taken care of, and we're always going to be, you know, get back to our old self again in many ways, you know. So obviously when it comes to mum, she's certainly that plus a lot more, because I see somebody that's gone back home and kind of again, somebody's got back home and just is just kind of reconnecting with certainly a group of people in the spirit side of it too. I do see a gentleman that was very close to here on the earth plane as well, and also see I do feel like it's her parents too, because I see another two couple there with mum also in the spirit world too. But I see a group of people that would have made mum welcome when she left this world to go home. And in many ways, you know, your mum kind of gives me that sense that, you know, life was difficult for her towards the end in many respects, but she also did her best with family, did her best with life, and she's like, she's now kind of enjoying that rest and peace that she's now got where she is. And I know she's there just to kind of let you know she is got back home safely, and she wants you to know that, you know, it's kind of, she's got a garden. So I don't know what that means to her, but she's, I've got my garden and I've got what I'm happy doing what I'm doing. So, you know, that's something she makes reference to, and I think it's her sense of being at peace with her life now, sort of thing, in that way. And she just comes forward to give you such a big kind of hug from her side of life. And she talks about, I don't know if she used to love a mint, as in sweets or something. So I can smell mint with her as well. So I feel perhaps that's what she used to eat, have it in a handbag or a pocket or something like that, because I could smell that on her breath. She sort of stands close by as well. So, but I know she's there now just to say, you know, I got home safe and everybody's there too. I do feel there was a gentleman there also that was one of the first people she saw when she left this world as well. And he had open arms for her when she returned home. So there was that sense that there was a lot of love waiting for her from this gentleman, and they kind of continued their life together in the spirit side as well. So, and there's birds around mum as well, lots of birds. I don't know what that means, but there's birds around her too. So it's very symbolic, but also it's something to do with birds with mum. Hopefully you can understand that.
We hope so. Now, Jean Mary is here, and she would like, wonders if there's a message from Chris or Roy.
From Chris or Roy. Okay. Okay, look, I feel like I've got more of the gentleman in my mind. I just feel that because as you mentioned both those names, I got a male voice in my mind straight away with that connection. So I feel like it's more to do with the gentleman that comes in that sort of way. And I feel when this gentleman wants to connect with you, it just comes in with that sense of kind of acknowledgement. And it's not the sense of saying sorry or anything like that, but I just feel like he's there to say, you know, when we leave this world, we do leave a lot of unanswered questions and perhaps a bit of life turned upside down in many ways. And I feel like he may be sorry for that in some sort of way. But at the same time, I just feel like he comes in there very strong to kind of show you that, you know, no matter what we went through in life, I just give someone, I'm so grateful for the support that you gave when he was here in that way too. But he still keeps on saying sorry for some reason. So it's that sense of acknowledgement for something that perhaps wasn't right when he was here in some sort of way, or putting somebody through a difficult time. But I know he's there now to kind of give you that bit of, in that sort of way. But he comes in there also to let you know that he's also very much okay where he is in the spirit world. And I know he's there to say, you've done a great job. Please keep doing what you're doing. And he mentions the young ones as well. So I don't know what the children mean to you, but he mentions the younger ones also, being very, very good with them in some way. Come on, that's okay. Cool. Okay. Well, that's all I had with that one, to be honest. And I just felt like it was just that brief connection with that one.
Sorry, right. So it's interesting, isn't it, that sometimes people are very keen to come through, it would seem, and other times. And so for me, it's interesting that when I ask for a reading from a medium, that I go in with open expectations rather than wanting a particular person to come through, or because sometimes I think that can affect, isn't that about life as well? If we have expectations, sometimes we're really disappointed. Whereas if we can go into a situation openly, we're not disappointed per se.
I think too, like I always say, that there's a medium or a psychic for everybody, and not everybody too, because as in life we don't get on with everybody here. It's the same in the spirit world too, that because we do what we do, it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to be able to connect with somebody in particular that you might want, So, and often when people say that, I can't connect with your mum or your dad or whoever, and it's not because your loved one doesn't want to come through. It's literally because perhaps that medium cannot do that, cannot connect with that particular person. And it's not like a reflection on them not being able to do the work. It's just that one connection that they're not able to make in some way, So often I think that's what it's about. It's often more about us, because spirit are always around us, and it's us that have to change our awareness to connect with spirit. So sometimes when people say, I can't find mum or I can't connect, it literally is because that medium can't connect with that particular person in some way, So it can happen that way for many reasons, but we don't always know, except for maybe the medium's not the one that can connect for you.
Right. Well, Jean Mary's saying that it was Chris. She feels it was Chris that you were speaking with, and she's very grateful.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That's cool.
The feedback is important, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I think so to a certain extent, but at the same time, I guess, I think if I trust enough with what I've got, then, feedback's always going to be good. But sometimes I think that it's just knowing that when people take it away and look at it and perhaps think about it, then they start to realize perhaps there's under meanings to that as well in some way, So, but it's always good to get the feedback too.
Well, I think I can remember my very first reading with a medium, because my husband had passed long time ago now, bless him. And there was, because I was thinking in a particular way, part of the message didn't ring true, talking about a person on earth. And I'm going, no. However, half an hour later, as I was having lunch nearby with a friend who'd also had a reading, I went, that's right. And I had to go back. I said, I've got to go back and see Lois and tell her. And that gorgeous lady has become a friend, as you have. And she thanked me for going back, because she knew, she trusted what she had been given, as you do. And it was so enlightening for me.
And I always, I'd love to share this story if it's okay, because I think this is just something that's quite wacky, and I may have spoken to you about it before, but the way I do trust spirit is I went to a spiritualist church in North Brisbane many years, probably 10 years, I don't know, plus now, and I'd never been there before, and there was a nice crowd of people there, and I connected with this lady towards the back of the room, and I gave her some evidence of her grandparents being around her because of her singing in the house and other things. And then I ended up saying to her, like, you're going to be given 2 cows. I don't know where it came from. I had to give it to her just like that, because everybody thought I was on drugs or something, because I come out of this really weird and wacky thing. And she said to me, like, I don't even know where I'm going to keep them, because I live in the city for a start, and I don't know where they're going to come from. But anyway, probably about 4 weeks later, I got a call from the lady that ran the church, and she said to me, I have to tell you this, that the lady you spoke to about the cows, she went to the Echo show in Brisbane, and she went into the dairy cattle shed or whatever it was, sort of thing, and there were two baby cows and they were making a funny noise. So she went over to them and started giving them healing, and the guy came over, the owner, and it was a big kind of burly bikey guy apparently, and he says, well, what are you doing? She goes, oh, I'm giving your cow some healing because they need healing. And this guy started to cry, and he said to her, listen, this is no word of a lie. He said, my daughter that passed away came to me in my dreams and said to me, I need to give somebody to their little cows for them to start off whatever they needed to do, honestly. And then so what this lady did was that he kept the cows in his farm, but she went back to kind of look after them or whatever. But it started off her own healing sanctuary for herself through this as well, sort of thing. So how bizarre would that be? But also at the same time, I trusted what I got, no matter what it was, sort of thing. You know, and it's just crazy thing, I know, but that's what it's about, just that trust.
Yes, absolutely. Big time trust. Now,
It
Jade
is.
Curry has joined us, and I would like to welcome everyone who has joined us during this time. Barry, Jade would like to know if her brother is close by and if he has any messages for her or the family.
Okay. Look, I feel certainly with your brother, you know, it gives me the sense that it's more around the earthly plane than he's in the spirit world, to be honest, because I think he comes in with that sense of not concern for you guys so much, but more the coming in as that kind of loving, protecting sort of person for you and everybody else too. So I certainly feel he's much closer to you guys than he is in his own world, I guess, to a certain extent. Not that he doesn't go there, but I feel at the moment he's drawing close to you guys to be with you, with perhaps a little bit of turmoil that's been going on, a bit of upset or something like that. But I know he's very much part of your life at this moment in that respect too, you know. And I feel like he certainly draws close to you at night time as well. So I don't know whether you get those feelings when you're walking up your hallway or into the room or wherever you go into quite often at night, because he shows me being right behind you sometimes and not wanting to kind of freak you out too much. But he says, I'm there just to make sure you're okay before you go off to sleep, type of thing, because I know he wants to do that to watch over you in that respect as well. And I do feel with him there's a slightly older lady that's in the spirit with him as well, and I sense that she was very close to him when they were both on the earth plane together. But this lady also would have been close to yourself too when she was here. And I know too that she's a very nurturing lady, a very kind lady, and somebody that would have really taken care of your brother when he returned back home into the spirit world. So again, he's certainly not on his own in the spirit side, but he's been taken well care of, he's well loved, but he's back on his feet, he's back to his old self, and you know, he can now do things for himself again and just get on with his life in whatever way that he wants to do that as well. And he's just saying to me that it's never too late to learn. So I feel that might be a reference to do with you in some sort of way, or he's encouraging you to continue your study or to look at study or something in that sort of way for you. So but know he's safe, know he's well, and he's certainly still part of your life, because like I said, he's more with you than not with you at this moment in time as well.
Thank you, thank you. Now, Anne Breen, who had a question earlier, is wondering if she can ask another question. Is her niece Tara passed away 20 years ago as an 8-month-old baby. Does she have a message for me or her parents? Is she okay?
Okay. Look, one of the things about, I believe that, you know, especially when we go back so young as that, you know, to me, the soul returns back to spirit and continues on its journey in the spirit world anyway, and they still kind of grow and they experience things up there. So the first thing is that even though she went back the age she did, is that, you know, you have to understand that that's the end of it for them. They continue growing, they move, continue their journey up there, they still learn, they still grow, and they still want to be a part of our lives in so many ways. So I certainly know she comes in there with saying, you know, like, there's no guilt should be attached to this. There's no kind of, you know, we should have done this and we should have done that kind of feeling. So she's there to say, you know, whatever's happens, it doesn't matter. But what matters is that the parents and everybody else connected to her, still continue their life and still be happy with their life is what's important to this young girl that's in the spirit world. And to me, she comes across with this real kind of family humour as well, because I kind of feel like it's in the line of your family. We've all got humour, I know, but it seems to be the sense she comes in with that humour quite strongly. But she says, I'm also there with my mum, helping her at this moment, trying to lift her up a little bit too, because she's needing a bit of comfort and a little bit more upliftment in some respects too, because mum, it was been a bit down, or she's not been quite herself in recent times. So I feel she's saying, just let mum know I'm there with her, just trying to help her and just trying to give her a bit of happiness back into her soul, as it were, in that way as well. But I know she's there now. Like I said, she's healthy, she's fine, she's fit, and she's grown up in the spirit world too. She makes reference to another baby in the family, so I don't know if that's something that's coming or it's there. I'll just see that around. So she makes reference to this. So watch out for that, whatever that may be.
You might be giving some advanced knowledge there, Barry.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Like sometimes when I see that as well, I kind of, some people have had readings for me and I've seen a soul of a baby hovering around, and generally it's not always because that soul is in the spirit world or passed away. It's more the fact it's waiting to come in, so sometimes I see it in that way too, and that's what I saw with that as well. So
you mentioned an interesting point there, the fact that we do grow still in spirit, so that somebody who passes as a baby continues to grow over there in that soul.
Yeah, look, I truly believe that, because like they come from spirit in the first place, and then they come into this physical world as a tiny baby. Then we will turn back home to spirit in whatever form we do it and whatever age we do it. But no matter who we are, we've all got an opportunity up there to continue and to grow, spiritually speaking, with our soul, to learn things that we want to learn, and we may take on things up there that we want to learn that perhaps we come back into another life and bring that with us, so that when we become adults or opportunities happen for us to use that, then we will do that. Perhaps it's about bringing good to the earth later stage, who knows, but there's so endless opportunities out there for us to do whatever it is we feel we need to do or want to do, whether it's healing, whether we stay there and become a guide for somebody that wants to develop, who knows. There's many different branches that we can go into in the spirit world, and as a child, it's endless. Well, it's endless for all of us, but as a child, they don't suddenly stay a baby. They still grow in the spirit world, and at the same token, that often I've had spirits come through when they passed when they were perhaps 80 years old, but they showed themselves to me when they were perhaps 25, sort of thing, because that's how that person can remember them at that age, sort of thing. So they can come back showing us who they used to be, as well as who they are when they left this world too. So, but spirit world is open, is endless opportunities for everybody, no matter what age it is when we pass into the spirit world in that way.
Super. Now, Anne is saying thank you. She's feeling better through what you said, and there are family members who've just been married, so maybe.
Oh, yeah. I kind of feel it's there, definitely, That'd be interesting.
Very interesting. Keep us posted, Anne.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jean Mary is amazed to hear about how we develop in the spirit world. So we delight in the feedback. So thank you, everybody, for continuing to comment. It's so important to us.
It is, One of the things that's quite common with people too, I think, is that people are often say, when they ask what you do, and I say, oh, I'm a psychic and a medium, they go, oh, that's fantastic, and they automatically assume that you've got a really good life because you do what you do. But it's, we're still human at the end of the day. We still kind of have the challenges in life like everybody else does. We still have to queue up at the post office. I wish we can't kind of teleport ourselves at the front of the queue and that kind of thing. I wish we could sometimes, but we still have challenges just like anybody else, and I think what it is, people often think that we can, because we help other people, we can give guidance to people to help them make better choices through the information that comes through. They seem to think we've got the answers for everything in our own life, which isn't like that. And often it's so easier seeing things from the outside looking in. So when we try to look at things for ourselves, sometimes we can kind of struggle with that a bit, because I know I do it myself, where I want something, or I ask the question in my mind, I get the answer, but I kind of second guess it because I'm thinking maybe that's because I want to hear that rather than that's the real thing, the answer. So we still have those struggles sometimes in life. So we don't have the answers for everything. And certainly our own lives are far from perfect. We still go through the emotional challenges, we still go through the hardships, the financial stuff, and everything else too. So, but for me, it's about helping people. And that's what I really love more than anything, So, with the years of experience I've had through the teachings and I think too, life experiences also helps us help other people too, to share what we've been through, to help other people know there's always hope at the end of that tunnel, sort of thing.
There certainly is. Now, Chrissy has just had a thought to ask you if you can just tell my grandmother, thank her for putting a roof over my daughter, and sorry it took me so long to say.
Oh look, when it comes to that, Chrissy, firstly, you probably don't need me to say that anyway, because they would know that just by you sending out your thoughts or anyway, So firstly, you don't need it. But at the same time, I just get the sense that with grandmum, she's kind of more than happy that, you're there to look after the place as well and keeping it, keeping on top of things there and keeping it spick and span sort of thing as well. So I feel your grandmum's also very grateful that, it works both ways. It's giving you the roof over your head. At the same time, she knows that you've taken well care of it and you will take well care of it too, because she thinks that there's nothing better than yourself and your daughter is the right person that deserves that as well. So she wants you to know that from her side. So it works both ways.
Now, Barry, I believe that people in spirit they know our thoughts, and we can directly speak to them with our thoughts.
Yeah, we can, because often when we connect with spirit, we blend souls, we communicate, and often it comes through the mind, so it's no different when they come close to us when we're doing our daily lives. So they do know what we're thinking, they know what we're feeling, they know what we're perhaps thinking about what we're going to do, and often when they come close to us, it is literally in the mind that we communicate with each other. And I'm sure that many people listening today will understand that when they're sitting there sometimes in front of the TV, they might start finding they're thinking about mum for some reason. And often that's because mum is there at that moment in time projecting her thoughts into your mind or a picture of her face to try and get your attention, to let you know that she is there in some sort of way. So yes, it's always done through the mind quite often when we communicate with spirit in that way, So yeah, that's how they do know what we're thinking, in that way too. Because in the spirit world, often they don't always use the language of the speech like we do. Often up there, it's all done by thought. They can produce things through thought. They can produce buildings through thought up there. They can produce, I don't know, flowers through thought. Everything's done by thought up there. It's all thought form in that way. And for us, I think the speech side of it is more of a physical thing here rather than in the spirit world. And I think perhaps thousands of years ago, maybe we also communicated like that in the physical world, who knows, and we lost that ability somewhere. So we had to resort to the physical kind of speech to communicate with each other. But certainly in the spirit side, they don't need that physical speech to be able to communicate with each other up there and us here too. Because often when I hear spirit, it's more like it's an inner thought in my mind rather than me you talking sort of thing. So for me, it's always that kind of thought more so than anything else, and I have to trust that. So yeah, and that's quite a good point actually.
Wow. I delight. I always learn. That's an interesting point too, Barry, that people have requested personal readings today. However, there'll be other people who have been listening, and I'm sure that they've gained by what you have been able to say and bring to the people who've asked for personal readings.
Yeah, look, I think sometimes, and I often find this too, if I'm working on stage and there's a nice crowd there, you often find that one person may receive a message or a reading, but often 3 or 4 other people can also relate to that as well in some form, So I think sometimes when there's a lot of people together, rather than, because we'd always be very limited for time, Spirit will try and use something that can touch a lot of people at once rather than one person at a time sort of thing. So, I think you're right that through readings, through questions, people can relate to it in some way. And it's quite often funny how people will ask a certain question about something, then other people will say, oh, that's what I was thinking too. So for me, often there's a reason for that, and that question comes through and it answers everybody's questions at once in that way.
Now, Star wants you to know that the reading was very accurate. The heaviness you sensed was his physical pain. I am glad he is now filled with light.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. Yeah, he come in that way with that sense. Like, and I know we're always going to be at peace when we return home to spirit, but for me, it's that sense with the battle at the end of his life. He would have had that challenge, but it certainly didn't change who he was in many ways. Certainly now he's got his old character back again, and he's back to his own self. And I kind of see him kind of running down the road in leaps and bounds and jumping and shouting and screaming, but having fun, sort of thing. I see him very much like that.
And that's something that can bring us comfort, Barry, isn't it? When we see loved ones in pain at the end of a life, to know that they leave that behind, because that's the physical body.
It is, and pain's always temporary, no matter how we think it is. Pain is always going to be temporary towards the end of our life, because it is kind of getting to the stage where we return back home to spirit. And as you said, once we kind of leave this body behind with the life force withdraws, we become our true self. So we don't kind of have a physical body as such to worry about disease or heart problems or lung problems or anything like that, because it's actually a physical body as such. And even emotionally speaking too, we don't have the ego there to kind of control us or to kind of put fear into us in any way either. So we lose all that, we leave it all behind, and we literally become free again. We become our true selves. And not that we go to spirit world and we kind of let our hair down our parties all night, because that's not what it's about either. But at the same time, we don't have that suffering like we do in the physical world, because in many ways that's why we come into this physical existence, to learn and experience things that we can only do through those physical senses, because the soul wants to experience things in some way, and that's why part of the reason why we do come here. And if we don't have that body to do that, then we're pure spirit, which means we won't necessarily experience things through the physical senses, because we don't have physical senses as a spiritual person. So if we don't have that body, we can't express ourselves in this physical world. We're just purely spirit. So, but the minute we leave this world, it's all free again.
Right. Now, Star was saying that he had pain for many years without diagnosis. Interesting to know what his particular lesson was in this lifetime.
Yeah, that's hard. That's a hard one, I think, sometimes, because we look at all the different experiences that we have. We always try to see what we're meant to learn from that. And sometimes I don't think we'll always get to the bottom of it either, because I think we can spend a whole lifetime thinking and questioning, why did I do this and why did I experience that, and never get the answer to it. So I think sometimes if something does make sense when you go through something, you understand it, then it's fine to let it go. Otherwise, I think it can eat us up a bit. I think otherwise, when we spend a whole time focusing on why have I done this and why did I do that and why is this happening to me, that kind of stuff, rather than just living life no matter what, and just taking things as they come, really. So who knows?
Now, Barry, one thing that has concerned me for years, I guess, is that we hear about horrific accidents. Say, if a car bursts into flame, or somebody is badly hurt in an accident. I'd like to think that the soul is released from the body, because I've heard of people saying I could see myself above the situation, so that we're in a human way, we can say, that, it was a really painful passing because of the accident. I'd like to think that the soul has left the body before excruciating pain.
Look, I totally agree with that too, because I think when they're in that kind of circumstance, the body can't, the soul can't sustain that body for too much longer anyway, with the with the life force that it brings through, So obviously, quite quickly, the soul will withdraw itself from that body. So then, we don't feel that pain anymore, because pain is only a physical thing. That's all it is. It's not a spiritual thing. It's purely in a physical level. So the minute that soul does come out of the body, then there is no more pain, because we're not feeling it in any way, shape or form, So we're able to... Yeah, it is, and like I said before, no matter what the pain is or circumstances and what happens, it's like that pain's always just going to be very temporary, no matter what it is, even though sometimes it seems to go on for a while when somebody is in pain. But I think, too, on another level, when people are perhaps passing with perhaps cancer or something that's kind of, getting to the end stage of their life, I truly believe that their soul is already starting to kind of come in and out of his body, getting prepared to make that transition over anyway, in some way. So they're not going to feel much of that pain while they're doing that, So for me, often I know from personal experience, when someone's died that I know, they've said, oh, that's in the corner of the room. So for them to be able to see that, they're becoming more spirit again, sort of thing, which means they're starting to leave that physical body behind just that little bit, So they're not feeling that pain even at that stage either. So that often happens to many people as well. And I guess that, they will come back into the room sometimes and bring their awareness back, and they might suddenly feel that little bit of pain just for that split second. But generally that pain doesn't last that long, because that soul is starting to leave the body just slowly over time. So you've got the side where it was a really dramatic accident where the soul can leave very quickly. And then the other side is if somebody's passing with a kind of illness, then sometimes that could be something that takes a while for that to happen, for that person to pass. But I think in between that, the soul's always interacting with the spirit world, getting itself ready and starting to adjust itself ready for that transition back. So there is no pain with that either.
Right. Because I have heard people say that their loved one might be lying in bed, and it's as though they're having a conversation or looking at somebody else in the room who we cannot see.
Yeah. And that's quite common, and that's what I said just now. I think that's because that soul is starting to kind of leave the physical body behind a little bit and leaving the ego behind too. So it's able to see that.
Right. Oh, it's fascinating, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it's just an amazing thing to think, that who we really are and what's inside us, and
Yes.
And it's sorry.
We have so much to learn, and I'm
we
so
do.
grateful.
Yeah. Oh, look, I know nothing really. It's only stuff that I've been taught over the years, and I've learned along the way through my own teachers, both physical and spirit, and also my own guides, and talking to other people too that have got their own opinions and experiences with what they've had with the spirit world and other things that they know. So that's what we talked about earlier on, about being respectful of everybody, because we've all got something to add with everything that we do in life in some form. None of us are better than anybody else. None of us know any more than anybody else, or we're not above anybody else. We just had different experiences.
Indeed. Now, Barry, we have had such a busy morning. We haven't mentioned how people can reach out to you if they would like a personal reading.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, obviously, I've got Facebook, Barry Gray Medium. I've got my website, barrygraymedium.com. And I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm also on Twitter as well. So, but Facebook's quite a common thing. But most people come through Facebook just to send me a message if they want to read him. I can send the details to them after that. So I do Zoom, do Skype, do phone, do face-to-face as well. So.
Very good. You're certainly out there. So I encourage people that if you feel that you would like a personal reading, they're so comforting. And of course, in a personal reading, it's much, much longer than what you've been given, the little snippets today. So more people can come through and you can ask questions, and I find them very comforting as well as enlightening.
Yeah, and that's what it's about, because, when you do this work, it's not just about giving readings to let people know that their loved ones are okay, but it's also about giving that kind of knowledge, I guess, to people to know whenever it's their turn, that there's something much greater waiting for us all when we return home to spirit. And, to know that our loved ones are not suffering anymore, they're not lost anywhere, they're not kind of in limbo or whatever the case may be, it's lovely. It is very comforting to know that. And it's a great feeling to know that, they've been taken care of when they leave this world too, So, and that's exactly the same for us too. When it's our turn, we'll be treated exactly the same way, So it's a wonderful thing. It really is.
It is. It is. Barry, you're on Angel Heart Radio with me once a month at this time, the last week. You're also on Angel Heart Radio with Annette and when Carol Ann returns, Carol Ann, on the first Friday, I believe, of the month. So that's next
Yes, it is.
Friday.
Yep, it is. Yep, and I look forward to that too.
Fantastic. So everybody, you know that Angel Heart Radio is here for you. And please reach out if there's anything that you would like us to cover. Now, Barry, I've just had that thought. If there's a particular idea that people might like to explore when it comes to mediumship, that's something that you're covering with Annette, I believe.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Because we like to, open it up to people to ask other questions about, whether it's their own development or whether it's their own experiences or, what they can do to help themselves in some way with their growth. There's many different kind of aspects to what we do. So yeah, if everybody's got other questions about, how they can better themselves or develop themselves or anything, please come along. We'd be more than welcome, and we'll certainly do our best to answer the questions. Definitely.
Great. Now, I would like to thank everybody who has put their hand up this morning for a reading, because without them, we wouldn't have had this particular show. And thanking us, I'd like to, as I have just done, thank everybody who has participated, because sometimes it's it can be a little tricky to ask a question knowing that it's going out to the world in a live broadcast. So congratulations to those people who felt drawn this morning. And I know that those who have readings this morning have gained much. I hope other watchers have too. And I thank Barry for being here. And I look forward to next month. And those of us who have gained from this show, maybe you can spread the word, because that's what Barry and I choose to do in this particular show, is to bring comfort as well as awareness. So I hope that we've done that today. And thank you all very, very much.
Yeah, thank you to listeners.